Everyone, this is Joe Lawrence of Business Credit Workshop, and today I want to talk about how to get business credit approvals despite an election, despite any pandemics or any economic uncertainty. What's working right now to get approved for business lines of credit, to get approved for business credit cards. And if you want to learn more about this process, you can go to bcwcoaching.com. And again, that's bcwcoaching.com. So yesterday we went live and we talked about two things that really help out a lot, which is first, working with local community banks, credit unions, and then secondly, crowdsourcing information like networking, finding out from your peers, which banks are lending, which banks are not lending. And thank you for those that were on yesterday's live. Make sure that you, there's like a button that you can click so that you get notified when we go live here. So make sure you click that so you get notified of future videos. And at the end, if you guys have questions while I'm going along, at the end of this, I'm gonna go on my computer. I'm gonna check if you have any questions. Okay. So one of the things that I really like too is the engagement that we got yesterday. So thank you for that. So not to reiterate completely what we talked about yesterday, but in case you missed it, most of the funding that we're getting right now is from local community banks and credit unions because they're not as affected from macro level things that are happening. They're more local with what's going on in the local market. And then secondly, we talked about, again, getting information from your peers and talking with people about like what's working, what's not working. So today I want to talk about some new stuff, okay? And here's what I got for you guys. It's basically 3 steps that I want to talk about today. And the first one is getting compliant, right? So first thing, when you're building up your business credit score in such a way that banks are willing to lend to you, is that you need to get your company compliant. And all that really means is make sure that you're in good standing with the Secretary of State. In today's market, if you happen to be in a higher risk industry like real estate flipping or real estate investing, you want to try to steer more towards property management if applicable, or asset management or whatever, so that you have more of a neutral industry, okay? Some of you that may not be an option, but get compliant. Make sure that your company is set up in such a way that banks are willing to lend to you. Make sure that you have a phone number for your business, not your cell phone. Make sure that that phone number is listed. There's local listings that you want to get listed on, like Yellow Pages and Super Pages and the 411 database, all of that. Make sure you have a real physical address for your business. You don't want to just use P.O. Box or a virtual address. It's going to be very hard to get business credit funding if you list your primary physical address of your business as a virtual address. It's okay to use that as a mailing address, but your business does need to have a physical place that it works from. This is my office here. But you could also use your home address and then just simply add a suite. So get compliant, make sure that your company is listed, make sure that we can find you online, an underwriter could find you online, super important. Next would be build your scores. Build up, I said scores because it's not just business credit scores, but it's also personal credit scores. So on the business credit side, right at the tail end of yesterday's video, we talked about a service called NAV. Right, it's NAV. So NAV is a company that tracks and monitors business credit profiles. And not only do they do that, if you buy the Boost plan for $39 a month or the Loan Builder program for $49 a month, they'll actually boost up your business credit score, right? So when we talk about building up your scores, we were talking about building up your business credit scores and also your personal credit scores. Other companies that are doing a good job reporting consistently would be gas cards. You can get a gas card from BP Gas, for example. You can give them a deposit to avoid a personal guarantee. You get that card, you use it frequently, and they report and they will build up your business credit score every single month that you use that gas card. Because essentially what happens is you get the card, you go to the gas station, you could use it for services, not just gas, and then they bill you, they bill you for whatever usage you have for that 30-day term, for that, it's a net 30 account, right? So then you make the payment on time, and they'll report to the business credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, Dun & Bradstreet, that you are responsible as a business owner. By having that happen, it's going to build up your scores, okay? Next would be personal credit. So with personal credit, there's a lot of different things that we look at and that a bank looks at when considering your personal credit scores. It's not like a lot of people ask like, oh, what's the minimum, what's the minimum credit score or whatever. There's no real minimum FICO score that's required. It's a combination of a lot of different factors. They look at your personal credit utilization. They look at your how old your oldest trade line is. If you got a credit card when you're 18 and now you're 36, that's 18 years old, right? They look at obviously the score, but also payment history. If you make payments on time and not. So common thing that comes up is people always say, well, I thought that business credit's separate from personal credit. And it is. The business credit that I help you obtain is not going to show up on your personal credit profile. But if you're not going to show the bank tax returns, financial information, bank statements or anything like that, and you want to do unsecured, so most people, they want to do unsecured and no doc, like no tax returns, no bank statements, nothing, then yeah, the bank does also look at your personal credit score. They want to make sure that you can guarantee you're going to pay them back the money. So you do have to guarantee that. That's what a personal guarantee is. If you have high tax returns or high deposits, like for example, a company named Divvy, they'll lend business credit to your company without a personal guarantee, but it's very, very far and few between. So you won't see me talking a lot about that because I'd rather just share with you up front. You need to get both things in order. You got to get the house in order. You got to get the business credit up to par. You got to get the personal credit up to par. Okay. If you have bad credit utilization, hypothetically, you use a lot of your personal credit in the beginning, and your scores are not looking so great because you're trying to start up your business and you're using a lot of your personal credit, and personal credit usage affects your credit utilization, hurts your scores, right? What you can do is, like, for example, let's say if my wife had a credit card with a $20,000 limit and a $0 balance, she could add me as an authorized user to that account. And then now I'll have $20,000 in available credit. Cool. So that'll actually improve my credit utilization, which will improve my score, which is what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to build our scores up. So we talked about getting compliant. We talked about building your scores, and then lastly would be finding local lenders, right? So when you're looking for local lenders, as you drive around your day, as you go out and in your commute, you can also look online, of course, like we do. You want to call local community banks and credit unions, and you want to find out, like, what programs are they offering? Do they offer business checking accounts? Do they offer business credit cards? The more calls that you make, the more banks that you visit, the more opportunities that you're going to find. I've had in this office here many, many, many banks that offer business credit cards, that offer business lines of credit without having to show tax returns, without having to show any documentation, right? Despite the pandemic, post-pandemic, with the masks on and everything, they brought me hand sanitizer, pens, and a whole bunch of things, right? So banks are still lending. It's more than 2/3 of our original database of banks are still lending, right? A few of them are kind of conservative, or taking, are on hold or whatever, trying to see what's going to happen with the vaccine for COVID and with this election situation and all that. But ultimately, don't let the outside circumstances prevent you from what your goals are. If your goal is to get business funding, goal is to get business credit for your business, whether it's your Amazon business that you want to scale, or your agency that you want to scale, or your real estate company, your construction company, this works for any type of business. So if you have a goal to get funding for your business, don't let these outside circumstances that you really let's be honest, you really don't have any control over this, right? You got to find the way of what's still working. And what we found, and this is the same thing we found during the Great Recession, is that local community banks and credit unions are still lending. It just takes a little bit of extra work, right? You got to call the banks, you got to interview them, you got to see, hey, what programs are you offering? But it's worth doing that. And yes, of course, if you want to just access our database of banks and shave off all the time of having to make these calls yourself to banks and find out who's lending, who's not lending, you can go to bcwcoaching.com. Again, that's bcwcoaching.com. And you can look at a case study of how we helped a client get over $500,000 in business lines of credit without walking into a bank and without showing tax returns. You can also talk to us more about coaching, about working with us, personal coaching to help you get business funding. So just as a quick recap, get compliant, build up your business credit scores, find local lenders. Banks are lending. They are, we had yesterday, what kind of sparked me to do the live is we had a couple of approvals this week. And one of them was for a $20,000 business credit card. And that was a no-doc business credit card. It's not in all 50 states, but it is in New Jersey, it's East Coast as well. So, and then we also had a $50,000 business line of credit approval as well. That was also no-doc. No-doc meaning no tax returns, nothing like that. We also got a $25,000 no-doc business line of credit approval as well, right? And that's just this week. So things are going pretty well as far as business funding, as far as lending. Let me jump on the feed. I gotta hit the mute button, so I apologize if there's gonna be an echo for a second or two. But I just wanna see if there's any questions. If you do have any questions, there we go. If you do have any questions, let me know. I'll hang out for a couple seconds and just type it into the comments. If you're watching this live, let me know. Appreciate that. If you guys are watching this replay too, type in the comments, let me know. I would love to hear from you guys. So I don't see any questions today, which is great. We answered a lot of the questions yesterday. And if you like this content, let me know so that I could produce even more content for you. I really enjoy this. All right, thank you so much. And go to bcwcoaching.com if you want to talk further. Thank you.